When you're ready, tell me when to go. And a smile. With a smile.
Just gonna check this, that the sound turned down on here, guys.
All right, good evening, everyone. You're joining the City of Westminster Historic District Commission agenda Wednesday, May 3rd at 7 o'clock. We're meeting here at City Hall at 1838 Emerald Hill Lane in Westminster, Maryland. And I'm going to open tonight with the reading of our call to order, our statement of authority. The Westminster Historic District Commission derives its authority from Chapter 164, Article 9A of the City Code, which is authorized by the Maryland Code Annotated Land Use Article Division 1, Single Jurisdiction Planning and Zoning Title 8, Historic Preservation. The qualifications of the Westminster Historic District Commission are on file at the City Administration Building at 45 West Main Street, and this file is open to the public. And I always like to start with a quick roll call so everybody knows who's here officially. We start with Chris Amadori, and she's a commissioner. Kristen McMasters, I'm the chair.
Grace County Commissioner.
Kevin Wagman, Commission.
Melissa Thoren, City Staff.
And online we have Mark Depot, who is on mute. Yes.
I'm sorry, Mark Depot, the Director of Community
Mark,
Planning
what's your
and
title for the city?
The Director of Community Planning and Development.
Maybe our sound isn't working. Yep, that would be it. Sorry, Mark. Try that again.
Mark Depot, the Director of Community Planning and Development.
Thank you. Mark, could you hear us or do we have to start over?
No, I can hear you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Great.
Mark.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, so this evening we're going to start with our agenda as posted on the city website. Item A is Historic District Commission Implementation Plan, and that's mine to report on. So at our last meeting, we were going to apply for a grant for the state of Maryland. It was going to be looking at our inventory for the city of Westminster to update it and to make sure that any new historic properties would get indicated in that inventory, to get it onto a digital platform so that every citizen could possibly put in their address and see what happened to their house on a digital platform. Unfortunately, the funding source that we identified was really more of a capital funding source, capital meaning building projects, that kind of thing, not non-capital, which this project would be. So that project date is going to be, I think, August 1st. It's for that grant. So we're delaying a little. In a way, that's good because there's a couple of things we really need to decide. I've gone out to some contractors and talked a little bit about the project. Lucky for us, we have a friend of mine who's almost retired and another woman I worked with 40 years ago in this business, and another woman I used to be a partner with in the city of Baltimore who can do this work. We have 3 good local vendors who could do this work. And I was told that what we're looking for is different. It hasn't been done before by other municipalities that they know of yet. But this is an update of our historic documentation. And our historic documentation was done for the bicentennial nearly 50 years ago. So there's a lot to update. I mentioned to my friends that I talked to 2 of them, that we would need new photographs because many of the structures have changed in 50 years, and that we would need additional information that has been uncovered in the last 50 years. And that documentation did not include any discussion of Corbett's Charge, which is our one and only Civil War engagement in town. It didn't include any real location of the mail routes. It had to do with the rural free post delivery system, which was established here in Westminster for the first time in the nation. We were the model for free delivery. And so that, and then also I've been looking into some of our neighborhoods, and it may be hard to believe, but we actually had a Greek business neighborhood, Irish town, and I believe there's some other little enclaves we can look into, as well as the German underpinning of all of the society that came in with pre-colonial days and established the city. So I'm beginning to collect up maps of those ethnic towns and trying to figure out more so that when we're ready for this grant, we have a lot of new stuff that needs to be added to our historic documentation. I've also been told that Sarah Ebholz and the city has called the state to talk a little bit about this project, and there's general interest in it. No, it wasn't Sarah. I'm sorry, I'm taking that back, Mark. It wasn't Sarah. It was a friend of mine who works for the National Register. She called the state of Maryland and they said, it sounds like a fantastic project. So the register that takes all this information in has already sort of given us a saying it sounds great. So I'm very jazzed by this. But it gives us a little more time to pull together estimates and also time to pull together a scope of work of what we'd really like to do. And as I was talking with Melissa about what our scope of work would be to advertise for this work, one little thing we came up with was, and Mark, you can help me if I can't remember what we all decided. Do we just want to do the historic district update, or do we want to include all the historic structures in the whole city as it is now, annexes included? That would put us in a better stead if we ever wanted to expand how we operate in the city for preserving all historic structures. And they wouldn't be just the ones in the historic district, which is fairly narrow. I'll give you a good example. Historic district's about a mile long, ends about at the college, extends out a little bit past where Main Street and Sheets was. But Roops Mill is technically within the city. And that we can't help them, they're outside of the historic core. So if we did the entire city and all its historic properties, at least it would be an acknowledgement that those historic properties exist. So I'm coming to you guys to ask, that could really expand this project. It could make it take a little longer, could increase the cost, but I've been assured that frankly, the grant funding would possibly cover it. Maybe not 100%, but at least, what we're looking for, it's still within the realm of possibilities. What do you guys think?
I think you should go for it. I think since it's mostly going to be grant funded, why not ask for it? Why not ask and see what it costs? But I think it's a good idea. I mean, if we don't do it now, when are those other buildings going to be documented? So another 50 years?
Yeah.
If they exist.
If ever.
Yeah.
If they exist.
I think you go for it.
Mark, do you think it'd be outside of our scope of interest on behalf of the city to propose the entire city be inventory?
I don't think so. I think that's what we're looking for. The HDC is to provide us some understanding of this framework of what you want to do. I would think we could certainly put together a scope of work that we would anticipate somebody to do. We can do 2 phases if there's a concern of timing. So we can concentrate on downtown as phase 1 and phase 2 of areas outside of downtown. Or at least we can get cost estimates as well as we're doing this too, so we can figure out funding as well. But I take the HTC and the scope of work that you want to do to move forward with that thought.
So I like the idea of proposing really 2 tracks. The historic core within the historic district, and then the entire city, even as annexed. Because if it becomes unrealistic to do the entire city, at least the thought and the work of just the historic core is something that we're not like having to recalculate.
And it can be done in 2 phases.
Exactly.
Maybe with 2 different grants.
That's a good idea. Or follow-up grant. Yeah. I mean, they're offered every year.
And I think if you recall that the tax credits don't just apply to downtown, so it makes sense that we would have information on properties outside of the downtown that could equally take advantage of the tax credits. So I mean, I think it fits into what we're already trying to do for the historic districts in the city, or the historic properties.
All right. Okay, good. So I'm going to ask, do I need a motion? Because I see everybody's head bobbing, but I would like it on record that the commissioners support the idea of doing the inventory for the entire city.
To interject, I like doing in phases. I think when you do in phases, you learn from one phase to the next. So my thought would be, I would vote for doing the core at first and then again, success, re-success, doing other areas. And kind of like what Mark said, that way create more interest for others to take advantage of the historic that I would say if we took a poll, 100 people, 95 wouldn't even know they could qualify in the core for tax credit. So it's back to education.
I think part of me says we should pursue it the whole. Because as we're going out and pricing this, there may be a savings in getting one company to come out and do the whole, rather than. We may find that to be the case, and if we don't ask, we don't know. You know, they gotta come and they gotta mobilize, they gotta set up, and they gotta go through the streets of Westminster and, you know, work with our records. Maybe just more efficient to do the whole thing at once rather than, I mean, we don't know if we don't put it out there and ask them, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm kind of aiming towards, and then finding out. If it really becomes excessively expensive, we drop down to the core as our priority and do the next following year. Does that sound good?
Make a decision after we have all the information.
All right, do we need a formal, do I need anything formal to proceed that way in that direction, Melissa?
I would like you to do that so we can make it crystal clear.
Great, so I'm looking for a motion from Commissioner that would have us continue on doing an evaluation of the entire city, perhaps in phases.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions? Did you get that, Melissa? Good. No more, any other questions? We can work it in phases if we end up having to. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, we have it by consensus. Thank you very much. Other than that, I think that's about as far as we're getting. I'm doing a lot of talking with a lot of old friends. This is a lot of fun, actually. A lot of fun indeed. All right, on to our National 250th anniversary. So in talking with the city, I got the indication that we would consider ourselves the key point for the city for the 250th. And we're planning a workshop in June. Did you get this information, Kevin?
No.
Let's go back to our calendars. I think we picked a date in June. Oh, it was supposed to be 1 hour before our regular meeting date. So our 250th workshop in June would be 6 o'clock on the 7th of June. And we're giving ourselves an hour to brainstorm about what directions we'd like to go, what kind of partnerships we'd like to have. What kind of lasting legacy would we like, or would we just want to say, let's do a parade? I'm hoping we do a lasting legacy, something that stands in 50 years on behalf of the city. Maybe we could do some sort of mapping program where buildings could be identified that were there during the Revolutionary War, you know, with plaques. I mean, there's a lot of great things we can do for the 250th. And time is now to plan because it's only 2 years away. Only 2 years away. All right. Oh, and one other thing, you know, have you heard of this group called Celebrating America? It's a county initiative. It's a consortium of historic organizations. Well, I go every month on our behalf. I'm our rep for that. And then the group that does National History Day. And kind of at my pushing and prodding, they have now got their national 250th anniversary on their agenda for every month. And they've got Tom Gordon interested. He wants to be involved in every meeting on the 250th that Celebrating America has. So I can see there's some sort of glimmer of interest on a county level And I'd really like to leverage that for the city of Westminster, find some way we can work together with them. So let's have some great ideas on the 7th. Start thinking, put your thinking caps on, think about partners. Lastly, I know the DAR's coordinator for the 250th. And I'll be seeing her Saturday. And I think the DAR's got some help of doing another lasting legacy, like they did the monument up at Belgrove Square. But I'm hoping maybe something bigger. Something, I don't know, something Emma Bridge or something. All right. That's all I have on the 250th. Any questions on that? No. Okay. To pursue funding for the inventory. So I think I sort of talked about that under A. Did I collapse those two topics together? It's the same thing, looking after the inventory project and looking for funding. Melissa and I will be working on that. We may be asking you all for some help in some way, shape, or form, especially proofing what we submit. And looking for letters of support. You'd be surprised how crucial letters of support are. Okay, Flower and Jazz Festival, you guys remember what times you signed up to help us? What time?
I said that I would be there for like 11. But it depends on how I'm getting, but I was gonna walk in town, so I'm gonna have to see if I can get how close I'll know after Monday my follow-up ortho appointment. How's that? I just need to be able to get close enough where I can crutch it in to the table.
So
I don't know what.
the first commissioner I ask is the one who has the.
You might be able to get a temporary handicap today.
All right, I'm there from
Just an
12
idea.
to 2. When did you say?
I think I was doing 10.
You're
I
gonna,
was doing 10.
You were doing
Yeah,
what,
I was
10
saying-
to 12, yeah.
and Kevin, when were you doing it? 2 to 12?
I never signed up, I never was at the last meeting
Oh,
when I guess you decided that
how about, are you available?
I would be.
It'd be great to have you there from 2 to 4.
I will rather be early hour. I'm an early bird and not a late bird.
Okay, all right, well, I'll switch with you at 12. Otherwise, we're gonna have 3 commissioners at 10, me at noon and nobody at 2. So I'll come from 2 to 4. if you'd
Is
like.
Josh, is he doing it?
He is, but I'm not, he's got to leave early because of something or another. He
And
can
where-
do the closing.
Where are we meeting?
I'll just try to figure
Where
out.
is the table at for us?
Where is the table at for us, Melissa?
Yeah.
Meeting in the library.
Yeah.
I've been in contact with Melissa from Parks and Recreation, and I gave her your contact information. So she will either be reaching out with a definitive location, but it'll be where they're handing out the free flowers.
Well, it was next to, yeah.
So the location I cannot share because I'm not certain where that's gonna be, but
Usually by the library because they have that access road to pull the flowers in
Last year, we were in Stockdale's garage.
because of the rain.
Yeah,
This weather.
It was hurricane. Yeah.
that's right, yeah, I remember.
And we were under a tent that almost flew over.
Didn't we have it in this parking lot one time?
Yes, during the virus.
That would be
Yeah.
That was it, yeah, it was like just that.
And that was the same kind of weather. It was great.
Well, Melissa, will you send us out a reminder?
Sure.
That would be great, because it's easy to forget these things. And then Melissa, maybe you and I should talk, it's the same materials that you sent with me to National History Day. That was great. I'm a little worried about that tabletop because it's so oversized. Inside it was fine, but outdoors I would be worried it would get dirty and yucky.
That's no problem.
That's no problem, huh?
And what is the date?
Flower and Jazz Festival.
It's the day before Mother's Day,
May 13th.
can't forget that.
Again, is the word called communication.
Okay. All right, so we'll get more information from Melissa in the city. As soon as I find out, I'll tell you guys. As soon as Melissa finds out, she'll remind us no matter what.
I was thinking I would send out a calendar invite to start and then I can do another reminder email.
Great. Okay, and then, other than that, the materials you sent for National History Day were great. We could do that again, that's terrific. Okay. All right, new business. Let's talk about 288 East Main Street. Melissa, would you like to give us your staff report?
Sure. It's pretty brief. I would like to share that we have 3 representatives tonight for the property, and feel free to add on to this because there's not a whole lot to it. But the city of Westminster received a building permit for the demolition of an existing single-family dwelling at 320 East Main Street.
328.
328 East Main Street.
It's been 280 and 320. For the
yeah.
record, I just want to make sure that.
328 East Main Street. City staff and the Historic District Chairperson, Kristen McMasters, met with the owner representatives last year, May 2022. And a detailed structural report was received February 15th of this year from Mr. Jim Whitmer, who's here tonight. And with J&M Engineering. This is an extensive report. My opinion, it was wonderfully written. There was an update since you all had received the package on Friday. And so just wanted to make that note. The property is not listed with a specific car number. They've done their research and looked at the other historical sites. You can find that. I'm now referencing their structural report on page 4 with the state and local inventory sheets, records, and notations. They have gone through and taken pictures of the property extensively and provided those pictures in here, as well as a key and a caption for each of them. So tonight, kind of looping back to wrap this project up, they're looking to demolish this 1960 single family dwelling. So staff, I'm here is recommending that the Historic District Commission review this information and provide a recommendation for this demolition permit.
Well, to start off, I have to say you guys have set the new bar for demolition reports. This is really good. And I don't know who you need to pat on the head, but somebody needs a pat on the
That'd be
head.
me. I'll get compliments of it.
Page numbers and everything. I just don't think I can ask for much more. I also have to say, I recognize that there wasn't that much juicy or exciting. It's too bad Truman didn't give a lecture from there on the front porch to the main street or something.
Yeah.
I have no questions about what was submitted. How about the rest of our commissioners?
I used to live near there. And I was always curious as to the age of the house. So you say 1960s. And I've seen its demise over the years.
But it's, some records say earlier, some records say later, so it's SDAT has a approximate, I know SDAT's not really historical. But they referenced 1935.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of looks, yeah.
but there's been a lot of work done to it.
Yeah.
So I can see where they said
Yeah,
1960, I would imagine most of it's new.
yeah, it looks, yeah. Yeah.
I was guessing post World War II. 35, it's not really that. But
This here.
regardless, I have to say it's really well done. Any questions or comment? You were done with your comment?
Yes, thank you.
Anything?
No.
So I tend to be in agreement. Do we hear a motion from any of the
I
commissioners?
make a motion, we accept this report and documentation of the property, and I suggest that we grant a permit for demolition.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion about it? this will be somehow housed somewhere permanent, won't it, Melissa? Some of the problems have been in the past, we can't find the reports we require.
Well, we have it on digital file and that'll be stored in our archival room.
Maybe we need to submit it to the library
Oh,
or
okay.
the Maryland Historic Trust
Okay,
as part of our documentation for our historic district.
I'll look into that.
Yeah. So please, because some of our previous demo things that have been done. We couldn't find, when we wanted to say, this is how you're supposed to do it, we didn't have a copy. I'm sure they are somewhere, but not really available. Now we will have this around, if that's okay with you.
That's perfectly fine.
You're not
Yeah.
the new book. Yes.
It's kind of like his business card. Don't expect a lot of work from here, but good for you all to do it.
What are we using?
So let's take a vote on our motion. All in favor?
I,
And there's no opposed. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your consideration. If they,
So you know, whatever goes in, we might be able to help with if it is in keeping with what's around. The same scope, on the same general materials, there's usually a 5% assistance for new construction.
Oh, okay.
So it might surprise you all
Yeah, I think we talked about that when we were at the site. And
at the site.
we mentioned something.
It's gotta sort of stay. Yeah, I mean, you know, how many of us have seen little farmhouses with big silos behind them sort of attached? You can't build something that's so out of whack, it's gonna really hurt the district. But if you do something, a couple of stories, that's in line and keeping with the rest of Main Street, kind of has the same feel, the same windows, that same kind of general ambiance. Have the siding go horizontal, like 95% of all the others houses in the Westminster, then I think we'll certainly consider it, and 5% is nothing to sneeze at,
Yeah, for sure.
could help a little.
Sympathetic in there.
Yeah, something that would be in addition to the neighborhood rather than something that sticks out like a sore thumb.
it's never our intention. So yeah, we're very receptive to that. We'll take a look at it.
So you'll need to submit anything like that with a form through staff. Melissa has to get it 15 days in advance of our meetings.
I don't know the exact time. Not, but so new at this, be my first.
Well, they work the same as, yeah, a 10% tax credits. This is just a 5% tax credit. So and it works in the same form and everything. We get a couple of days, few days to look it over.
it would go for us first and then new construction, whatever term, zoning before zoning.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know, Mark would be more helpful on the threading. I don't know if they have to be one before the other. But we're quick, you know, essentially within 30 days, you'll know whether we'll give you the 5% or not.
Okay.
So we're fast, and it's a tax credit, so you have to pay your taxes in first before you get any of it back, but you have 5 years to recoup that 5%. So it works for middle people with really small projects and a lot of sweat equity. You have to spend at least $5 grand. You're putting in $1 million worth of house, you'll never get it back based on your taxes.
So somewhere between.
It's the middle. It's the middle that, you know, you'll do your best. But anything's better than nothing. Something to look into. Call Melissa, she'll call me.
She'll figure it out by then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the state, you know, they just.
They have limits.
No, they don't.
We're unique. Our 5% is unique.
Okay.
As far as I know, nobody else in the state offers that to people who build sympathetically.
That is interesting.
It is, and you wouldn't guess it's even there. All right, well, thank you very much.
We're good. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
You're gonna have to stay for the rest of the.
Yeah, well, if you don't mind, I don't think we will.
I have a funny feeling we're not captivating
Thank you
enough.
very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
right, next on our list is 23 North Charles Street.
That's center. Does it say Charles?
No, it's a center.
Okay.
I gotta put my glasses on.
Center Street.
I just hate wearing them. All right, and Melissa, would you like to do the staff report for us?
Sure would. Okay, so I have up on the screen a PowerPoint here. So we have, the city of Westminster has received an initial submittal for renovation plans of 23 North Center Street. We received them March 2nd by 2 Point Studio LLC for a 2-story addition to the existing commercial building. Information on the tax credit program and facade funding has been shared, although at this time we don't currently have facade funds available. I would like to point out that a representative is here, Jamie Penrod. And Jamie, who are you with? Who are you representing? I mean, which company?
So I'm actually the owner.
Okay.
The building, so it's under DBAD LLC.
Okay.
I'm actually a resident of downtown Westminster. I live on 171 Willis Street, so I'm a few doors down. My business partner and I purchased the building and are doing a major renovation to it to move our real estate business, which we are currently leasing into the building so we can get back to the community.
Oh, very cool. So I actually drove around it today. So if you have any ring cameras, you'll see my car going around. Looking at it, but I was looking at the wrong building intensively. I did see this one a little bit too.
Yep, so I'll just go through this here. So here's a picture. Oh, I'm trying to move the wrong. Okay, so here's the view from Center Street and the location of the proposed project right on the corner. Let's see if I can get this.
His history will show it was a real estate agency. Before it was the offices of Tom O'Farrell Senior, and then it did insurance from there, and then it became later the auctions office.
Oh, okay.
And then we bought it from the attorneys. Happy to.
Here's a view of the back. So this is the section back here, which will be where the addition is proposed. So we'll show a material board was presented today by the designer. It's a little hard to read. It's in your packets as well. There's a page near the end on that, so you can see what is proposed. We have, I'm going to pull mine up too because it is hard to read. So the black standing seam metal roof to match the existing, also to be used on the addition. There will be windows and doors painted black and some new windows and doors. The horizontal lap siding will match existing, which is the majority of the property, and there is a vertical board and batten proposed on the porch to match the color of the lap siding. Here's a look at the elevations proposed. And there's a larger picture included in your packet as well with a key. So a few windows, the front door that is existing currently is proposed to be replaced by a window. And as you can see, the vertical board on the porch. And there is a ADA accessible ramp proposed for the side view. And am I correct, Jamie, all these are new windows, the darker black?
So we're making windows from the back side where the second story is. We're going to reuse those windows because they were newer.
Okay.
And put them in there. Right now, that's a bay window.
Mhm.
That's just not really efficient.
Mhm.
Efficient, it's just not efficient. So we wanted to replace it so that everything's symmetrical. And it's pretty from the street. So we're using existing materials.
And here's a view of the other side and the rear. So here's the addition part on the back of the building. And these are very nice renderings, so you can see the design. Also love the flowers. Yeah, I noticed the purple. So here's a neat look at that, and here's the back. That's the end of my PowerPoint presentation. So the addition proposed is 752 square feet, 2 stories on top of a crawl space. And the building is currently 3 stories, as you can see. We talked about the front door replacement. We talked about the ramp. And there's a new double entry door on the side. So staff is here recommending that the Historic District Commission review the elevation plans for 23 North Center Street and the architecture. The applicant has expressed a desire to come back possibly next month with a tax credit application.
I actually completed it.
Oh, you did? Okay. So one of the things, I remember a conversation with Marissa, so up to you guys, if you want to look at it now and respond to that. I haven't had a chance to look at it or make a recommendation.
You might wanna look at it, does that have budgets with it?
We can provide budgets with it if you want, and.
Talk to Melissa about the standard
I can
package.
Absolutely, perfect.
So I have a couple of questions. If it's question time, Melissa.
Absolutely.
So in squaring off the back of this building, you'll basically be losing the upstairs porch. Is that what's happening?
Well, we actually don't have a court.
I know, I don't have a porch old view and I don't have a new porch view.
Porch that's existing right now.
Oh, shoot, I was driving around next door neighbors. They have a second level
Yeah,
porch.
we don't have a
Okay. All right, well, we don't have to worry about saving the porch if you don't have
On the
it.
back and
Okay,
see where you're looking over here.
yes, that was what I was looking at.
Oh, I like
They're
their
similar
color.
from the back. Look at that.
Yeah, it is actually. So what's happening on the side, on the side where we're doing the handicap accessible, we're getting rid of the stairs going up to the second floor. It just doesn't make sense. Based on what we're doing on the inside.
What's the date of the building? I was looking today and I didn't see.
Well, it's the 1870s.
Is that where?
Yeah.
See it.
I hate to say it, it's so common of the 1870s. It just screams 1870. If it's 1880 to 1885, I'd still believe it. But that's really the look and feel of the place.
We're really trying to keep the character. I mean, I have an 1885 Victorian, so I mean, I've got a love for wanting to be a part of and make it so much better.
So let's just talk a little bit about the windows. The windows you're replacing, are you replacing them with some kind of wood composite windows, or are they gonna be vinyl? What are you looking at?
They're currently vinyl that are in there, so we're replacing with exactly what is in there right now. And the front window, if you look on the back side of the building, we're taking 2 of the windows on the back side that we would lose because of the addition and using them for the front.
So it's a recycling project.
Yeah.
So that's neat. If you wanted to upgrade those windows, you could. But it should be something we talk about. Can't do it on the fly.
My understanding from the previous owners, they had just updated those windows within the last 5 to 10 years, so
So they still have some light.
we've got some life left in them.
Got it. All right, do any other commissioners have any questions?
I'm not, so I'm looking at the porch, I'm looking at the vertical board. And just wondering if that. Would the original, so see, vertical, and that's what's proposed with you.
I didn't just see
It's
it.
just, it's just up to less than 5% of the overall building.
Is there any chance you would reconsider that, just because vertical siding is really uncharacteristic of the city of Westminster?
Right.
It's sort of out of place at this
Can we get a rendering?
Yes, we can, this one, yes.
Are we able to see that?
I will try my best by going out of the presenter mode. Let's see. We can certainly blow it up. Oh, it's not gonna help very much. Let me see, I got this, we have.
I know you do.
Savvy here, let's try it. Okay, let's. It's the same.
Hopefully have this is a little bit different. So it's trying to keep in character with, because we're moving this the door on the inside here, so we're trying to keep that common theme and then keep the rest of it vertical.
Yeah, I just personally think it's not in character with what's there historically. And it's not in character with the rest of the building, as it is historically. And we both had this vertical question
Yeah.
last one. I think vertical things are in.
It's wooden batten is in.
Uh,
I'm a realtor, so
Very
that's what I'm seeing. Any projects that are being taken on right now, everybody wants board and batten. And so it's in, so it's the theme, because realtor, so we are trying to keep the historic nature there, but that one porch area that we have to replace, we wanted to have it kind of match what we're doing with that big red door that we're moving over.
I think I'm still gonna have to stick with same decision we had made last month about that. That's just cosmetic and it's just not in keeping with the historic nature. I hope that's not too devastating.
This whole process has been devastating, so, I mean, it's
been harder than you thought.
it's a lot of hoops, and we're putting $450,000 into a building that's not worth that much. So, that's, I mean, yeah, if that's what we have to do, then it's what we have to do.
So do I hear a motion or do I hear any more questions? No. Okay. Do we have a motion to accept this proposal?
I have one question, sorry. So the handicap entrance is going in.
It's right down the parking lot where the handicap
Okay.
spaces.
Gotcha.
And
Right around,
we're going
okay.
in and grading that and making that simple and beautiful and easy to get into the building. Currently, it's not handicap accessible.
Here we go. See here. Okay, I see it now. Thank you.
I make a proposal, we accept the plan, except with current discussion about the vertical boards to be horizontal. I'm fine with making a motion that way.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is that clear for your notes, Melissa? And we're.
That sound good.
So you're in hope to be ready for facade grant, or this is just for the 10%? Or is this pre-designed for something else?
We don't have facade funding right now, right? But the, not to put words in my mouth, but this is in preparation of providing feedback for Mark and the zoning administrator moving forward with the project, but also in anticipation of giving her enough feedback to put together a complete application, knowing that the the vertical boards may not be accepted. That's the things, and then what materials would be better.
All right, and then also, have you been counseled that there are state tax credits?
Yes, we have. And I know that I was counseled when I bought my own residence, that if we did any improvements, especially to our carriage house, that we were looking at, I think, up to 25%.
Up to 20% on the state, and then because this is a commercial property, you can get another 20% that's federal.
Okay, perfect.
So think about that, 10% from us, 20 from the state, 20 from the feds, and if the facade grant comes through, that's another 50%. I think this could be done for you.
Right.
To some extent.
Right, it's.
Like, it's never,
Yeah.
everything you want is never gonna get covered by everybody.
Absolutely, no, and that is why I'm here. I mean, my business partner went back and forth with the site, and is it worth it for what we want and the money that we're putting into it? Is it gonna try it worth it? And my feeling is absolutely it is, but let's take a look and we have to try.
Well, the best thing about having a real estate professional in here is you can also tell new clients.
Right.
I went through the process myself. It's a little painful, but in the end, the check's still cash.
No, exactly.
So, yeah, it's fair, yes. All right, so are we ready to vote? All in favor?
I,
No opposed. Okay, terrific. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Can't wait to see how it goes.
a question off the cuff. Have you done a traffic study, how many cars go by there daily? Because
I should, because I live on the corner of Center and Willis, so they drive past my house every day. We sit on the porch. and talk.
Because I wake up, say the computer store on Center Street. They don't have to advertise because of all the cars that go by there daily. So again, having your real estate office there, people are reminded all the time of the location.
Agreed,
You
agreed.
just have to really be careful with the sign rules in
Okay.
town.
Okay.
Melissa knows all about the sign rules.
We have an application process.
Okay, good. Yeah, they're on it. And that is fine. At least it's slow from one stop sign to the stop.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go slow enough
To
through there to read it. Perfect.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you very, very much.
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Now we have time in the meeting for historic commission and public comments.
Like to look at the
Here it is.
Let's go later.
Oh, I see what it is. I was looking for the waiting. All right, so do we have any comments from Chris? Kevin, any comments or good work you've been doing outside of our meetings?
Well, the only thing is, I was first to rejoin the county historic commission. They are in charge of Uniontown and some other historic sites within the county. And I used to be on it 25 years altogether, and I was a chairperson for it a while. And I got off 4 years ago, I guess, because part of me thought, okay, I don't own a house in Uniontown. I had aspirations one time of owning a house there, and I believe in keeping it historic down to paint, doors, windows, etc. So I was glad to be asked to come back. Maybe I have to wait for the commissioners now to approve me. So again, I like that I'm here and possibly back on is the county one. I think there's a lot of knowledge to be gained from each municipality. That's all.
Great. Grace, anything for the group? Nothing. Great, so my month ahead will be concentrating on working towards the inventory, sharpening up the scope of work with Melissa, lining up my contractors, and we need to get a hold of the application for that August date, because I'd really like to know some of the details. I mean, we'll need to start getting letters of support from various organizations. And I think we're gonna need, that takes time. you have to have your application good enough that you can say to someone you're going to, this is what we want your letter on. You can't just say we want an idea. So, you've got to pull it together. Usually that takes 40 hours of staff time. Plus, I'll do whatever I can do. But they may need it to be entered from your computer because it's from the city. And then it'll have to be done a couple of weeks ahead so that you have a chance for people to have some input into what they're endorsing. They might look at it and say, this is a great idea, but we're uncomfortable with this paragraph. You have to have a little time for them to be able to have input.
So what kind of timeline are you looking at? What would you say?
So I'm thinking, usually the state is willing to look these things over. And if August 1st is our deadline, I would expect the state to say they need to look at a draft by July 1st. I'm also expecting them to have a letter of intent process. Sometime in the next few weeks, there should be a letter of intent required so that they know who's coming in with an application. That's normal. And I would think we would want to have our copy look as good as we can look by July 1st because of the holidays and whatnot. And this will probably have to go in through the state system of applying for grants. And Melissa, I don't know if the city has a person or if it's just looked up to the departments that they all just apply for stuff any way they want to. But I recently did one to the state. And I think we're gonna get the money, I'm not sure, but I would give me a 99% chance we are. And I went through the state portal and there's some kinks with that portal, Melissa. Every time you pop off, it'll lose all your work. You have to save it before you go to another link.
Yes. Are you talking about their IntelliGrants? Or
Yes.
is it something different?
IntelliGrants is not very intelligent.
I'm very familiar with that program. Yes.
It's horrible. I can't tell you how many pages of text I lost.
I know, and it really is best practices to kind of have it written out in like a Word document. Because of that reason, and then a lot of times I'll either take a picture of it or copy it just in case. And you still hit save, just to make sure that it doesn't go away. I'm on their website currently, and I can see that the non-capital grant intent to apply forms are due June 30th.
Okay.
By midnight. Let's not be submitting it on at that time. And the full applications, like you said, was August 1st. I do have a contact for the program. I was speaking, well, her name is Heather Barrett.
Oh, I know Heather.
And I was speaking with Jessica French per your recommendation.
Yeah.
And she gave me her information.
Heather Barrett helped us get the sign in front of the Mary Shellman House for the women voting thing. And Heather came and spoke to us that day for that event. So she has an interest in Westminster. She was just here, I guess it would be a year ago, December 4th.
Oh.
Good, we have a friend.
One thing, if we talk about what may be a giveaway or something at Flowery and Jazz, I didn't know, one time we had some of his CD-ROMs of weeks. I didn't know if we were going to maybe give some of them out or not.
So I think we have bumper stickers left, pencils left. And at the high school for National History Day, we gave out water bottles from some other events. And the lids. And people love those things. Do you have any tchotchkes we can give away for other programs?
So we're saving some of the water bottles for a conference coming up in June. But I could probably give you like 5 left for this. I know that's not a lot. We're in the process of ordering new swag.
Keychains or something.
Yeah. It's not gonna be ready. So that won't be ready for this event coming up, but I'm gonna print new of the walking tour brochures. You'll have the east tour and the west side tour. If there's anything that you would like to create, have at it, create something, we can print it in our office in copies for them.
There used to be a blue cheat sheet that was put together. Do we still have that? It just was like a short talk about the tax credits.
So we have a tax credit brochure
We do have
now,
a tax credit brochure.
pretty spiffy.
That may be good enough, just one piece to walk away. We don't need to paper it. The other thing we used to do is we used to have some tablecloth, which we now have the city one. And we'd get some flowers. Usually I buy flowers on the way in, put them on the table, and then I take them with me when I left. And the other thing we did was we had old hardware, like doorknobs and lock boxes. And I've got a gutter thing for my gutter, and I just let kids guess what it was. And yeah, if any of you guys
Copper from a roof.
bring some, if you've got any doorknob or something, something that would bring up a conversation with kids, it's a great way to start. Yeah, okay, bring your piece of paper.
Yeah, like, I forget how many pounds because we had to get a roof fixed. So I said, do not, I said, what are you gonna do with all that copper? We're gonna put back the sheets of it. It's like,
Bring a nice piece in, well, small piece. Small piece, yeah. Might be a
yeah,
good
my cell phone,
sample.
I'll say yes.
Oh, we'll get you those.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, May is Historic Preservation Month. Are we as a committee doing anything?
This is it. Flower jazz is our big thing.
We had a very funny exchange. I thought, okay, they are working on the clock tower. May I ask, could we get a tour? And then I said, maybe we could have a meeting for the public. Then Melissa told me, did I realize, and I didn't, to go to the clock tower, you have to climb a ladder. So I've been here now 40 years. I never knew that there was a ladder. So that was a thought of mine.
Well, Grace and I will tell you what it looks like. We'll go climb. You go first. But maybe we can get in on that ribbon cutting whenever that happens with that clock tower, Melissa.
Yeah.
We'll put in a little hint that we want in on the VIP side.
When is that supposed to be finished?
Slated for August.
Oh,
Pretty fast.
your
So
foot might be good.
It should, I'm hoping it's good.
kind of like my thought on that. Could we extend a question? Could cable television go up there and film it? And make a segment that we then could be kind of responsible for? That would be our historic segment for May.
That would be great. Kevin, I love that idea.
And it doesn't have to be till the project over, but I think you public drive by there every day, they don't even know there is a clock tower there.
Well, it'd be great to have just a 3-minute video.
Mhm.
And we could put it on our website, Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some creatives in the city who might be able to do something, and the Carroll Community Media Center is very nice and offers some things to do. So they're always looking for opportunities to highlight communities. So this can be a
It could
good.
be just real short
Now,
and maybe even a drone. Could go, shh, because I know John Cullen's got a drone that he often lends out.
if they don't have a completion until August, we have all those months leading up to that.
Man, I think this is a great project for you to work with Melissa on. Yeah,
She might want to do it herself. She has found I'm very hard to deal with. when I emailed her the idea, it was like 5:30 in the morning.
I didn't even notice that, wow.
Well,
You are a morning person.
Kevin, I think you should follow through on that. I think it's a great idea. I think my bandwidth is full right now, but I look forward to you doing something that would be great.
I'll help you.
Me too, I'm looking forward to me doing something.
I'll help you, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Don't tell Tricia.
All right, well, if there's any comments from staff?
I would like to mention one thing. In my conversation with the Maryland Historic Trust's Jessica French, she mentioned the city of Frederick is currently expanding their historic district boundaries and adding new properties to the register. And they used Gray and Pate, which is a Frederick located. And that was what she's supposed to be giving me a list of other consultants that she's kind of worked with or heard about. And I believe she mentioned they're doing an inventory update with this.
Yes, they have to.
So I thought that was exciting because our neighbor is working on it. So
One thing I heard from my friends at the National Register that I may be under some old misconceptions of the rules. That some boundary adjustments are now where you only need 50% of the new property owners to assent to being part of the historic boundaries. And they don't go back to the old owners and ask them if, they want to vote, they just vote in the new. I really thought that was absolutely forbidden. But I might be under 10-year-old rules. And so Jennifer French would know those rules. If you end up talking with her more, we can think about that, expanding the boundary as long as it doesn't endanger our current boundary. That's my big thing. I do not want to go through a whole city referendum on the old boundary in order to include a few new houses. But it's just that easy. We can start adding new neighborhoods if they want to be added.
And new neighborhood would be, we are not suggesting annexing into the county when properties are bordering us, or are we also looking at annexing?
We would not do any annexing of anything that's the city of Westminster. We would be changing the National Register boundary.
Okay, thank you for that
And it would-
clarification.
Only properties within the city, because we really have no authority outside of the city. So we wouldn't be mucking outside of the city. But yeah, I look forward to further clarification about those rules, because I would have staked the bank on us having to resurvey all the residents, and I was told, no, that's old thing. We'll find out. Anything for Mark?
Yes. Since you did mention the proclamation, the mayor will be presenting a proclamation for May as National Preservation Month. And we were wondering if Chair McMasters wants to come to the Mayor and Common Council meeting Monday night for that presentation.
Absolutely.
And obviously, anybody from the Historic District Commission is welcome as well. I'll just let that out there. I'll just put that out there for the group as to whether you want to attend. And it's proclamations are done at the beginning of the meeting as well.
What time is that? Monday, what?
7 p.m.
The next meeting?
Yes, the next Monday, what is it, the 8th?
You have
yes,
next Monday?
this Monday. Yeah.
Why did I think you guys just had a meeting?
They had a special meeting for to go over the budget.
Oh.
This
And
is the regular meeting.
This amazing.
It's here at Emerald Hill.
Yes.
All right, I will be happy to be here. That is the night before the city election, so I might have to get special dispensation from Doug Barber to not be around for setup on voting machines. But I'm sure somebody will talk to Doug and get me out of it if I have to, or I'll just come here real quick at 7 o'clock and then run down to the,
Oh, my goodness.
swim club or something down there.
Well,
Where
well,
I'm located.
Doug did ask me to reach out to you to see if you were interested in attending the meeting.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, boy, you got a good one in him. We're still online. I better not talk about city staff. He's really good. Okay, well, anyway,
Yes,
stop
he-
talking.
Yes, he is.
Stop talking, Chris. All righty, well, if there's no other comments, shall we adjourn? All in favor?
I
Aye. All right, thank you.